Welcome you all. In last few videos we have discussed about the uninformed search strategies as well as the informed search strategies. Now in this video we are going to discuss about the heuristic functions. So here we will discuss the 8 puzzle problem. The 8 puzzle problem was one of the earliest heuristic search problems. The object of this puzzle is to slide the tiles horizontally or vertically into the empty space until the configuration matches the goal configuration. So here is the example provided. The first image shows the start state. So here the 1 to 8 blocks are provided and the empty space is provided. So we have to slide the squares in such a way that our goal state should get achieved. Okay, so how many steps we require here? The solution is 26 steps long to solve this puzzle from starting stage to the goal state. The average solution cost for a randomly generated 8 puzzle instance is about 22 steps. The branching factor is about 3. When the empty tile is in the middle, 4 moves are possible. When it is in a corner, 2, and when it is along an edge, 3 moves are possible. This means that an exhaustive tree search to depth 22 would took at about 322, that is 3 raised to 22, that is equivalent to 3.1 into 10 raised to 10 steps. A graph search would cut this down by a factor of about 1,70,000 because only 9 factorial divided by 2 is equivalent to nearly 1,81,440 distinct states are reachable. This is a manageable number. But the corresponding number for the 15 puzzle is roughly about 10 raised to 13. So the next order of business is to find a good heuristic function. If we want to find the shortest solution by using A star search, we need a heuristic function that never overestimates the number of steps to the goal. There is a long history of such heuristics for the 15 puzzle. Here are 2 commonly used candidates, H1 and H2. What is H1? The number of misplaced tiles are nothing but the H1. So as shown in the figure, all the 8 tiles are out of position. So the start state would have H1 is equivalent to 8. H1 is an admissible heuristic because it is clear that any tile that is out of place must be moved at least once. What is H2 then? H2 is nothing but the sum of the distances of the tiles from their goal positions. Because tiles cannot move along the diagonals, the distance we will count is the sum of the horizontal and vertical distances. This is sometimes called as the city block distance or the Manhattan distance. H2 is also admissible because all any move can do is move one tile one step closer to the goal. Tiles 1 to 8 in the start state give a Manhattan distance of h2 is equal to 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2, which is equivalent to 18. As expected, neither of these overestimates the true solution cost, which is nothing but 26. The effect of heuristic accuracy on the performance. The one way to characterize the quality of a heuristic is the effective branching factor B star. If the total number of nodes generated by A star search for a particular problem is n and the solution depth is d, then B star is the branching factor that a uniform tree of depth d would have to have in order to contain n plus 1 nodes. So thus n plus 1 is equal to 1 plus B star plus B star raised to 2 plus B star raised to 3 up to B star raised to d. So what is B here? B is nothing but B star is nothing but the branching factor and D is nothing but the solution depth. And what is n here? N is nothing but the particular problem. Note. So for example, if A star finds a solution at depth 5 using 52 nodes, then the effective branching factor is 1.92. The effective branching factor can vary across problem instances, but usually it is fairly constant for efficiently hard problems. The existence of an effective branching factor follows from the result mentioned earlier that the number of nodes expanded by A star grows exponentially with the solution depth. Therefore, the experimental measurements of B star on a small set of problems can provide a good guide to a heuristics overall usefulness. A well-designed heuristic would have a value of B star close to 1, allowing fairly large problems to be solved at reasonable computational cost. To test the heuristic functions h1 and h2, we generated 1200 random problems with solution lengths from 2 to 24, so 100 for each even number, and solved them with iterative deepening search and with A star tree search using both h1 and h2. The next figure gives the average number of nodes generated by each strategy and the effective branching factor. So here this is the table which provides the effective branching factor and the search cost of all the search strategies. Comparison of search cost and effective branching factors for iterative deepening search, that is IDS, then A star algorithms with h1 and h2. The data are averaged over 100 instances of the 8 puzzle for each of variation solution lengths t. Okay, so the solution length is provided from 2 to 28. So here search cost for IDS for various d values is provided. The search cost for A star with h1 of various d values is also provided, and A star with the value h2 for all the values of d is provided. In the same way for effective branching factor also. The results suggest that h2 is better than h1 and is far better than using iterative deepening search. Even for small problems with D is equal to 12, A star with H2 is 50,000 times more efficient than uninformed iterative deepening search. So H2 is always better than H1. So it is easy to see from the definitions of the two heuristics that for any node n, H2 of n should be greater than or equivalent to H1 of n. We can thus say that here H2 dominates H1. So domination translates directly into efficiency. A star using H2 will never expand more nodes than A star using H1, except possibly for some nodes with f of n is equal to C star. The argument is simple. Every node with f of n less than C star will surely be expanded. This is the same as saying that every node with h of n less than C star minus g of n will surely be expanded. But because H2 is at least as big as H1 for all nodes, every node that is surely expanded by A star search with H2 will also surely be expanded with H1, and H1 might cause other nodes to be expanded as well. Hence, it is generally better to use a heuristic function with higher values, provided it is consistent and that the computation time for the heuristic is not too long. Generating admissible heuristics for relaxed problems. We have seen that both H1, that is misplaced tiles, and H2, that is Manhattan distance, are fairly good heuristics for the 8 puzzle, and that H2 is better. Now, how might one have come up with H2? Is it possible for a computer to invent such a heuristic mechanically? H1 and H2 are estimates of the remaining path length for the 8 puzzle, but they are also perfectly accurate path lengths for simplified versions of the puzzle. If the rules of the puzzle were changed so that a tile could move anywhere instead of just to the adjustment empty square, then H1 would give the exact number of steps in the shortest solution. Similarly, if a tile could move one square in any direction, even onto a occupied square, then H2 would give the exact number of steps in the shortest solution. A problem with fewer restrictions on the actions is called a relaxed problem. The state space graph of a relaxed problem is a supergraph of the original state space, because the removal of restrictions creates added edges in the graph. Because the relaxed problem adds edges to the state space, any optimal solution in the original problem is, by definition, also a solution in the relaxed problem. But the relaxed problem may have better solution if the added edges provide shortcuts. Hence, the cost of an optimal solution to a relaxed problem is an admissible heuristic for the original problem. Furthermore, because the derived heuristic is an exact cost for the relaxed problem, it must obey the triangle inequality and is therefore consistent. If a problem definition is written down in a formal language, it is possible to construct relaxed problems automatically. For example, if the 8 puzzle actions are described as a tile can move from square A to square B if a horizontally or vertically adjacent to B and B is blank. We can generate 3 relaxed problems by removing one or both of the conditions. A tile can be moved from square A to square B if A is adjacent to B. A tile can move from square A to square B if B is blank. And a tile can move from square A to square B. So no any condition is provided in the third case. So from A we can derive H2, that is Manhattan distance. The reasoning is that H2 would be the proper score if we moved each tile in turn to its destination. From C we can derive H1, that is misplaced tiles, because it would be the proper score if tiles could move to their intended destination in one step. The step C or the condition B we will discuss in our later sections. Notice that it is crucial that the relaxed problems generated by this technique can be solved essentially without search, because the relaxed rules allow the problem to be decomposed into 8 independent subproblems. If the relaxed problem is hard to solve, then the values of the corresponding heuristic will be expensive to obtain. A program called Absolver can generate heuristic automatically from problem definitions using the relaxed problem method and various other techniques. Absolver generated a new heuristic for the 8 puzzle that was the better than any pre-existing heuristic and found the first useful heuristic for the famous Rubik's Cube puzzle. One problem with generating new heuristics function is that one often fails to get a single clearly best heuristic. If a collection of admissible heuristics H1 to Hm is available for a problem and none of them dominates any of the others, which should we choose? As it turns out, we need not make a choice. We can have the best of all worlds by defining Hn is equal to maximum of H1 of n up to Hm of n. We can choose here the maximum value to find out Hn. This composite heuristic uses whichever function is most accurate on the node in the question. Because the component heuristics are admissible, H is admissible. It is also easy to prove that H is consistent. Furthermore, H dominates all of its component heuristics. So in this section, we have seen the heuristic functions. I hope this is helpful for your further studies. Thank you.